Why does it feel disturbed so easily? Because the ego is built on a shaky foundation, something imaginary that you created. This self you're holding on to is a model or story you've told yourself. But if that model can't hold you, if it doesn't work, a wise person would say, "Good, let it go." I remember when I was learning to let go of my ego. Back then I'd challenge it every chance I got, kicking out that chair of certainty every time I noticed myself holding on to it. I was relentless about it. I was so determined not to let my ego get comfortable that any time I thought it was relaxing into some idea of itself, boom, I'd pull it right out from under me. And in my early days, I was very serious about this. If I said something to someone and then felt self-conscious, my ego would say, "Maybe you shouldn't have said that," or "They're probably judging you." That little voice in my head, do you know what I mean? It's that I inside that tries to protect itself from embarrassment or criticism. Well, I wouldn't let it get away with it. I'd take that part of myself and face it head on, saying to the person, "Hey, did you think what I said was silly?" I made myself confront it, which honestly wasn't the kindest way to deal with my ego. I ended up feeling a little neurotic and constantly on edge. The ego is like a character you create. It's just a concept, but you don't need to trap it, shame it, or attack it every time it comes up. There are gentler ways to work with it. Some people try to control it by ignoring it or hiding it away. But that approach can make it even more defensive. Ego gets disturbed easily. Why? Because it's built on insecurities and fears. Let me ask you, isn't the mind usually uneasy at some level, even when things seem to be going right? Think about it. Even on good days, the mind has this little worry in the background, a fear that things could go wrong. If someone says, "I love you more than anything," isn't there often a part of you that doubts, wondering if they truly mean it or if they've said it to someone else before? That's the nature of the ego. It's never fully at peace, even when things seem perfect. It's always looking for security, even while it questions the very foundation it sits on. Now, your true self, or consciousness, is still in the background, observing everything. But it's so caught up in the ego and its thoughts that it forgets itself. It's like shining a flashlight onto something. You only see what the light is shining on and not the light itself. Similarly, your awareness is completely focused on this small part of you, the ego, and misses the larger consciousness behind it. This focus on the ego is what's called false identification. You've projected your awareness onto this collection of thoughts and beliefs that make up the ego. But there's much more to you than that. Yogananda, a famous spiritual teacher, once experienced full enlightenment and described feeling as though his body was no longer limited to one place. Instead, he felt like he was expanding in every direction, filling the entire universe. He realized his true self was not confined to his body or his thoughts.